selections, right? It's not a clunky process where you have to go through a whole heap of selections and start to try and enter a heap of information. It's a very simple process where you call up your people in your network through your contacts list, write a message, generally expressing the gratitude for whatever it is that's been done, and then you send send. Once you receive the message, and it's usually through an SMS, or it could be via an email, depending on what you choose, and it's also now available in Microsoft Teams. Either one of those mediums, once you actually receive it, you can go to your local cafe that are participating in this particular program, and you put your order in a scan and you receive a gift. So you get to experience that. There's other ways that you can do it too, where you may want to actually send something to someone and you want to join them and you want to actually experience that connectivity. You know, it's all about getting people back together as well. And that's really what we're about. So when we're talking about teams and in general, in an organisational context, building team trust and rapport, without it you cannot have a list of things such as constructive debate, buy-in or commitment, accountability, and ultimately results. All of those things are pivotal in teams. To build trust, trust is one of the underpinning things behind this particular application. Rapport, all of those types of attributes. There's been plenty of studies done as well. You know, it's not like we're making this up. We are actually adopting principles that have been out there in reports and what have you, from such as Harvard, for instance. And there's a report that they've done, and they've said actually recognition and appreciation builds trust, rapport, and it increases team performance by 74%. That's monumental. It proves that just by doing something very, very simple as saying thank you or building some trust or recognising people around you, it has such a massive effect on everyone's well-being. There is also the Gallup 12. Have you guys heard of the Gallup 12? The Gallup 12 is a list of 12 questions. And essentially what that means is, out of those 12 questions, if someone in your team answers those questions and the answers are not necessarily in line with what the framework is about, likely what you'll see is that person leaving your organisation. So out of the 12 questions, question 4 is the most important one, and it's the cheapest to actually implement. And it's the one that we've got here, staff recognition. If you do that at least 7 days, every 7 days, it's responsible for at least a 20% uplift in productivity and profits. It's, again, you know, it's not stuff that we're making up. This is really out there. So how does it work? So there's several ways that it can work. We've got a platform which is used within an organisational context. So in other words, if you wanted to have an entire organisation attributing to this gratitude program, you can set up a platform which is a basic account. There is the app itself, where you can just send from person to person or person to groups of people. And then there's also through the Microsoft Teams environment, which means you can send to an entire organisation as long as they're on the Microsoft Teams environment. But how does it work? So the partner, a CEO, an MD, can quite literally say thank you to someone who's on the floor, someone who's at the coalface every day. So it's really important for someone who's at that level, who's done a great job. You know, maybe that they've just won some business, or it may be that they've stayed back late and worked really hard on a report. The boss can literally send them a note with a gift and say thank you straight away. It's not, here's 10 points towards the the rewards program that we've got. It's an instant recognition, and they can essentially go and reward themselves with a tangible product. So at the top level there, we've got the partner, MD, CEO. They can actually set up the account and issue credits to their managers. And the managers will have discretion to send a thank you to each of their staff if they choose to. And as you can see, there's a chain of events that happen there, and there's a whole bunch of different reasons why you may receive a thank you. The corporate hub is what I was just talking about, and that's essentially what it looks like. You can list all of your staff inside of this particular environment, and each of them can be individually thanked, or you can send a thank you to all. So if it's the end of a project, or you just want a major deal, or whatever, you just want to reward all your team, this is the way that you can do it. So where are we right now? Well, I haven't got the Philippines up there yet, but we're working on it. In Australia, we've got over 200 redemption points, and we're growing. It's
We're going there, Craig, all of us.
yes.
Right there.
Pick a spot, and we'll take you there. So we've been working very, very hard to get to this point, and like I said, we were wanting to come to the Philippines because the Philippines makes a lot of sense to us. Plus, we have some very good friends here as well who can obviously take part in this activity. So, what are some use cases? You know, there's some examples that I've provided there. From a business development perspective, if you're out there looking to win business, or you're doing business with particular people, and you want to say thank you to someone for a meeting, or you want to remind them about a proposal that you may have out there, you might want to say thank you very much for doing business with me. Just a reminder about the proposal. Do you mind following up? And then send them a copy. And straight away, you're a front of mind for that person. It's, oh, I should get back in touch with that person, or maybe I can go and join them for a coffee. There's the staff performance side of it. Obviously, we mentioned that. We talked about gathering metrics and data. We did a piece with Deloitte in the earlier stages of our development. And one of the things that they requested was for us to actually do some analytics around who are the best collaborators in their team. And so using our application, what they were able to do was to collect information from you know, who's actually received the most thank yous. And with the count of those people who got the most thank yous, they were in line for a higher reward. Generally what would have happened is those people may have flown under the radar. They may not have been recognised or seen. But with this application, what's happened is they were actually able to be seen. In fact, they were able to be recognised in a way that they were available to get a higher reward. So we went out there to try and replace Deloitte's current system, or their way of recognising their staff, or their reward system. We were complementing it. As I've got there, Microsoft Teams, Slack, both of those environments is where we're heading. We're already in the Microsoft Teams environment, but Slack is another one that we would like to go to. Again, it's just a nice way to actually get across to people, rather than sending a taco or a you know, an emoji or something like that. We can send something that's real. Events is something that we've experienced this year in a big way. Microsoft is one of our partners, and Microsoft invited us to the Inspire event in Las Vegas in July. And with that event, it was a 35,000 person attendee list, so a huge amount of people. And as a part of that, Microsoft issued 10,000 thanks to the audience, and within 3 days, the entire lot were redeemed. So that was actually issued by one of the VPs of Microsoft, Gabriella Schuster. She actually latched onto this particular idea through a good friend of mine who is connected heavily to Microsoft, and they absolutely love it. They want to use it for more events as well. The other one is brand promotions, and this is one that I'm very excited about, because once we have a large user base and there are a lot of people using this platform, there's a way for us to actually market it. So if you're a beer company, or if you're a specific type of product that you want to sell, you could literally do it through our platform and go and redeem it at a supermarket, or a retail store, or whatever it may be. So we're in the process of developing that. So that's a big one that we're looking for, and looking forward to getting across the line. As I said, a couple of existing case studies that we have, the Microsoft Inspire conference, as well as Develop Coffee. So this is where we featured on Channel 7 Sunrise in Australia, which is a breakfast show, and as a part of that, 5,000 copies were issued to the audience, and as a part of that, we had people download the application and going out and using it and claiming their copy from a developer store.
Greg, if you have that now, you could send to us, right?
Of
Now.
course, of course.
Yeah.
We'll find a way, Adrian.
Find a way.
Didn't we claim it in Australia?
Yeah. No, we'll find some places. What's a good coffee shop here that everyone loves?
Starbucks.
Oh my word.
There's Toby's. Toby's.
Toby's.
Yes.
Toby's Estate. I think we can work with that one.
So just on that, the event we did at Las Vegas was with Starbucks, and like Craig said, 10,000 coffee was redeemed through Starbucks within 72 hours.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But it was one of those things. It was an event, and Starbucks are everywhere in the US, as you would imagine. So people were just walking straight past one, and they redeem it, and away they go. So this is essentially our partners at the moment. We've got around about 20 organisations that are working with us. They're the main guys that we've got there. We're now looking to go to PwC as well. We're in our final stages of testing with those guys, and they're looking to implement our platform into their system as a local installation. And then there's a number of others that are lining up as well. So Virgin Airlines and so on and so forth. So there's a lot to go. So please, questions. If you've got any questions, I'd like to know.
When will it be available here in the Philippines?
Yes, that's a big question.
Adrian, can you answer that question?
So right now we're just working through the technicals and how to set it up here. Obviously this app was developed firstly for Australia, so we've got all the financial back end. So really it's not from a technical perspective, it's more from a financial perspective, how we can make sure we can get coffee shops on board here, maybe Starbucks, maybe some of the local coffee shops, and just working out, making sure we can have a seamless transaction for the merchants or cafes. So
It shouldn't take too long. I mean, I think if we can say, well, I would have liked to have done it before Christmas so that everyone can send a Christmas message to people.
Pressure.
Yeah, the one catch here, and I suppose the one barrier that we have at the moment is we need redemption points. Redemption points is the key, because when you actually go to a cafe, you're scanning a QR code, and the QR code connects that cafe to our system. So that's the one barrier that we've got to overcome. But generally, we haven't had much of a problem with getting that set up in Australia.